Welcome back to Threshold of Revelation, session 45, entitled The Name of the Town that they're in. Um, because that's usually a naming convention, I just figure is easy if there's nothing action-packed or cool happening, which is the case here. So last session, there was a fight. Someone got brutally murdered. Lots of people got brutally hurt. They killed the chicken, and they have pulled two pieces of strange metal, which have turned out to be shreds, which allow them to, when they reform their body, they can reform it in such a way that they would be changing their class identity. And in the case of the two shreds that they have, one changes them into a Path of the Totem Warrior, but for the chicken, and then the other option that they had is a Ranger Primal Companion shift, which allows their primal companion to be replaced with a massive chicken. Okay, so yeah, easy enough to note. Flat Flap leaves in the morning, so after your long rest. And as we discussed in the preamble to this, you're not jumping on the boat and hanging out with them. You're staying here in Eggard. Some of you are performing some tasks for downtime activities. In the morning, hours spent processing, bringing Uther back in the non-normal method. As we've noted in this game, normally if you respawn yourself with the device, it will cost experience. The cost was too great, so instead of that, Bodhi has expended cash money and used the spell Raise Dead to bring him back to life, which is great. Very awesome. And
We're at a major deficit.
yeah, a little bit of a deficit cash-wise.
We're
but-
really pitching pennies going forward.
Right. So you need to get out there and find some shit to murder.
It's just hit the bricks. We're looking for jobs.
It's work o'clock. Let's do this. But yeah, after you spend your day kind of doing your downtime activity, for you regarding the red cat blood, I don't have the option right now, but it presents you.
I'm just fiddling with it.
No worries. It presents you the option.
We'll figure it
out. I don't have the recipe like right up in it, but it is one of the components, the prime component that's used to make oil of Taggart.
I'm doing your standard stuff. Smelling it, tasting it,
Yeah.
boiling it.
The presumption for Ezekiel is you're going to do some repairs. Is that a fair assessment? Do you have any wounded items?
No, I don't think I do.
Okay, cool. Then do you
No,
want...
I was thinking about adding the protector thing, but it just gives me what my subclass gives me, so.
Yeah. So if you already have that, then... Well...
Yeah,
I think Silas has a damaged weapon or two.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
could repair those.
If you're looking to fill out
I
time.
would definitely look into that. The great sword and the other one that I had. The
Just
one
throwing
with
out
the-
options.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll repair them.
Fair. And then, is there any other fetishes that want to be slotted into other people? It's just weird wording there. Does anybody want to use any of the available fetishes and add them to their roster? I know that there's one on Ezekiel, and you said that your subclass gives you the ability to use reaction grant disadvantage?
It makes them reroll the dice.
Okay, is that all the time or once?
I can use it 4 times.
Yeah, so the fighting style says you can do it always to anybody who's being targeted adjacent to you.
Yeah, but it uses a reaction like mine does.
Yeah, no, I agree. But so instead of using your ability there, if they're next to you, you can just use the fighting style to block them. Unless there's another fighting style or fetish that you want to add instead. I'm just saying it's not the same ability. They're different.
The Dragon Eater seemed interesting. That
I
might
have
be
that one.
That's Uther? Okay. That's where I was going to vote it goes. Didn't come in handy. But it could come in handy.
What does the 2-weapon fighting one do?
It gives you 2-weapon fighting, so your second offhand attack will get your ability modifier to the damage. Normally it doesn't.
Do I already have that?
Mm-hmm.
You're a ranger. You had a fighting style. You might have it already. What's your fighting
Yeah,
style for
The
ranger?
base one was blind fighting.
Oh, then no, you don't have it. Yeah, ranger only gets one.
I feel like I might have taken a feat somewhere to pick it up though, because I was making offhand attacks.
Fighting initiate?
No.
Yeah, we didn't see it on your sheet last time, so you were dealing sans the modifier last session.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe I was just making them like
Noted.
poorly.
But now you have the shred, or the fetish that'll allow you to do it. Okay, and does anybody want Blessed Warrior or the Channel Divinity one? No? Okay. Cool. And then repair-wise, if you're repairing magic items, I'm going to say that just because they're uncommon, it'll be about 50 gold pieces of Residuum to repair them, 1 level apiece. And you can choose one. I would say with a day's worth of downtime, you can only choose one. And I apologize, I just suddenly have to use the restroom real quick. I'll be right back. Talk amongst yourselves.
We'll keep the audience entertained.
Yeah, alright, thank you.
Just pick whichever one you wanted me to work
Oh,
on.
there's a
Gotta
baby
go up
though.
one.
Eleanor.
Say hi.
I
Hi. She can't hear us, Jeremy. Hi, Ellie. Hi. You say Zach. Oh, that was
She said,
loud.
get this off of me.
she's looking at them like
Ellie.
my dad.
Ellie says Zach. Zach.
Zach.
Nah, she doesn't like it on her ears. Channel Divinity is the Artisan's Blessing. Was that what it was?
Yeah.
A long ritual crafts a non-magical item that must include some metal.
I mean, it seems interesting, but
That
I
could
don't
be
know.
handy.
I did throw the protection one on there.
Would you also need to already be able to channel divinity to do that?
I would think so.
I'm like, because that wouldn't really work for any of us.
Tell you what, I'll take the Channel Divinity one.
Try that.
We really just don't have any that fit for me at all. I was like, it's not that I don't want to take one. It's just that none of them really fit for me.
We'll find more.
Yeah. Hey, just throw on the never mind. I was gonna say throw on that one, but we already have that one equipped.
And Joe must be really blowing it up in there, huh?
Right. Gonna walk back and it's just gonna be like a freaking gas mask on him.
What was in that sandwich he was eating?
Simultaneously too much, but not enough of something.
Funny enough, all mayonnaise.
It was just a jar of mayonnaise. Under and like on top of the jar and under the jar was more mayonnaise.
Jody, what you got? You filing documents?
I'm updating.
Why are you giving us a side out?
Because it's a sheet.
It's private, I get it. Top secret.
Super secret squirrel.
Dual wielder is the feat I took.
That sounds cool. Yep, John's back and we did a great job.
Just had to pee, that's all.
Okay.
Plus
okay.
1 to AC while holding 2 weapons.
Okay, so fetish is sorted out.
Yeah, I'll take the Channel Divinity one. If that's okay.
2 weapon just adds my proficiency bonus to my offhand attacks.
No. So when you do a 2-weapon attack, your offhand attack does not add to damage. You do not have your dexterity added to damage. So your first attack is normal, your second attack is just weapon damage dice. With the fighting style, it applies to your offhand, so you do dice plus damage. Understand?
I think so. Yeah, dual wielder was the feat I took, which doesn't
Dual
do
wielder
that.
lets you use 2 martial or like not light weapons.
Drawn
instead.
stow 2 and plus 1 to AC when I'm holding 2.
Yeah. Oh yeah, right. So yeah, you could wield 2 larger weapons or 2 non-large weapons. Now, that's the feat you just took, you said?
No, I've had it.
Oh, okay. Well, I missed that last session. I actually think I...
Didn't kill me.
No, it still killed you. It was
That-
definitely.
Because you saying you killed me and not actually killing me sounds pretty right. Especially as a half giant
Oh
thing.
my
He
God.
got better.
No. He's referencing the old worlds, the old lore. And funny as it may be, it wasn't a math situation. It was definitely nobody knowing what your fucking character does. So, okay, so that day is done. Your repairs that you've done, everything's that's handled. So we're going to long rest. That's for Uther levels, and then he'll lose the 1 off the top for the raised dead feature. Once we get back into it, then you are in Eggard. There isn't much going on here. Most of the people who were here have left, and they've left all through the same passageway. There appears to be a mountain pass that kind of goes down and enters into tunnels that lead down to the coast. And really the only people that are kind of left here are the gnomes I mentioned, the gnome that you just ran out of a job, and he's sad about it, but he really doesn't have anything he can do besides thank you for saving his life, because it was trying to murder him, if you recall.
So do we just take our payment from him?
Well, he's not paying anything.
Oh.
He's got a hefty list of fines over here on his clipboard.
Yeah, but
He's gonna have to sell this whole barn.
he also is under the understanding that now that it's been destroyed, like there's no issue. Like it's a situation where there's no ex post facto. Like you can't charge him for something.
No. There's no statute of limitations on this. He broke the law.
There certainly is, and he would know the laws.
What's the statute of limitations? On our?
No, it's if so if you're committing a crime and it's a durational, and then that
he flat out
crime
said
is
his
no longer,
family's been doing this for generations.
and that crime
Like
is no
this
longer
morning?
possible because law enforcement stops you from doing it, then that basically is it. There's no fining someone for.
Oh, okay. So they stopped
ruining-
me from breaking and entering. I'm not getting in trouble for breaking and entering.
I'm
You
pretty
are-
glad that
Hold
we have
on.
this in recording because I'm going to use it in court one day when I need it.
No, what I'm saying is
The law is a fickle thing, huh?
Let me explain. If you're incarcerating him, that's different. Fining is a very different situation entirely, which we can all agree to. If you are pressing charges against him and making him now be in jail, that is very different than we are fining you for the illegal operation of this specific facility, because the facility doesn't exist anymore. There's no operation. There's no reason to fine a person for things that have already been destroyed.
All
By
right.
you, law enforcement. You stopped the illegal operation of the thing. That's the punishment.
Okay.
Oh, I've seen a lot of cop shows. That's never how it works.
Okay, I'm sorry.
This
I
sounds
don't-
like hearsay.
I'll be frank
Objection,
with you.
hearsay.
One second, Jeremy. What fucking cop show are you watching where they have a chicken spawning factory that is then broken because the chicken that's being
committing a
copied...
crime.
Eureka. It was Eureka.
Eureka,
that
that
show.
was the one.
Probably was.
They did do it pretty much very similar to this.
I'm gonna need an episode number and a season number, please.
I'll find it pretty quickly. I
mean,
think
I'm
because they
pretty
were cloning the same chicken breasts. They have the one chicken on the whole farm, and it's like the perfect chicken.
Obviously, this probably happened in a Simpsons episode, and based on just historicals, probably in One Piece as well. So that said, sure, but no.
Okay, well, we're just gonna take all the chickens that we can grab.
They all turned into abyssal chickens.
Did they?
They did.
So he has nothing. Are there eggs? Are the eggs okay?
No.
Oh, okay, well, my in-character thing is false. I
Yeah.
didn't eat eggs.
What you'll note is that the eggs appear to have spoiled immediately.
Gross.
He still ate them.
Yeah, right when it went to
I
about
did still eat them though.
when it went to its threshold ability, when it went to mythic, it basically,
Okay.
bad.
Do you still have to eat food as whatever you are?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, there's nothing.
He's
saying-
gonna.
Yeah, you weren't here for the shambles time. I insisted on eating with the others.
And he was a
That was
scarecrow.
great.
It was funny.
Like an actual living scarecrow.
Just a big sponge.
Yeah, there's nothing blocking them from eating or breathing. They can hold their breath for a really long time, but they don't.
Pretty.
They still do all the things.
Alright.
Okay.
Well, was there any other downtime? I guess Uther's passed over because he's recuperating.
Hmm.
Uh,
I mean, he wakes up. I mean, he can do it, but I mean, he's
Sure.
obviously at some penalties.
you want to do any downtime stuff, bud?
Mostly just crying and vomiting.
Yeah, that'll
Yeah.
happen.
So
Yeah, I've been there.
I will.
Haven't felt this bad since we left or met that last half giant.
I will say this is a very interesting bit of information here. So Raised Dead doesn't have the same caveats regarding your body being brought back that reforming your body with the Lodestar and the Dance Eternal would. The Lodestar basically pulled upon your soul to create a copy of your body, so your mind being scarred is what caused the body to be scarred when it came back. Raised Dead does not have the same caveats. So because your body was restored via that, all mortal wounds, which technically the one that killed you the first time and that you kept putting back into your body when you respawned it, those would all be gone. Like, yeah.
You're welcome.
It's like I have a normal body.
Nobody
now.
thanks me yet, but you're welcome.
You are Uther with your tattoo. Oh no, the tattoos would be gone too. Yeah, you are just the guy. Yeah. Well, let me know. No, tattoos are
I'm
not
fucking
mortal
free.
wounds. Tattoos are not mortal wounds. Sorry. The wounds that would basically have dropped you to the Dance Eternal are.
All those burn scars are gone then.
Yeah, because they killed you.
Heck yeah.
The big chest
Neat.
scar gone.
Hey, we can actually go to that town I wasn't supposed to go to now.
Well,
Where's that?
Time to adventure.
I'm no longer marked.
So,
Let's go.
I'm not an outcast anymore.
Blood Rock is the name of the place where you're from.
He
Yeah,
paid
that-
his dues. Oh, that's right near where we're supposed to be.
So we're going to start
Isn't
you in this space. If your intent is to head north, so much the better. If your intent is to head south, also great. However you want to proceed, it's entirely up to you. I'm going to shift the music because I was doing the somber thing for the respawning. I'll play something a little bit more,
For the vomiting.
yeah,
Some levity.
something a little bit more, yeah, nice. Our normal map music. Okay.
I definitely vote we go north.
And
We
by
run
this-
into a lot of cool stuff.
By this time, I believe Flaplet would be on its way.
We
Fair.
can catch him if we need to.
I did forget that we can fly already.
Yeah.
Speaking of, how are we traveling with the plane if we're deciding not to fly? Do we drag it? Does it have wheels on it?
Well, you can fly it low to ground. You don't have to fly it soaring high in the air. Basically, you could hovercraft it. But at this
Sounds
point,
dangerous.
if you're going somewhere and you're taking the ship with you, there's really not many options that you have available to you that don't involve it being used under its power.
How far does it go? 20 hexes?
Hmm.
In a day?
No, it goes 20 hexes before it needs to rest for a day.
How far does it go in a day?
5. And that, again, ignores all terrain. So basically, it moves you at road speed.
Okay. Well, damn, this whole map opened up for us overnight.
Yep.
Pickles, yeah.
Fuck the conglomerate. You guys want to just bail?
We can just go left. They won't even expect it. They won't even see it coming.
Fuck all this.
Just let's go left.
Wagons west.
Let's go to Modus. I hear good things
Boys.
about that place.
We have 20 hexes now. We can at some point we need to go back and get my cursed sword.
That would be the longest adventure. The goal is Modus. For no reason, in actuality.
Just to start it all over.
And I
again.
have to figure out how the fuck long that's going to take. At the 5 hexes per day. God damn.
That's at least more than a day.
Tell me how.
You know that much.
How many miles is 5 hexes?
Nix is on board.
You tell us.
Think of the adventure.
35 miles.
What's a hex?
Thanks.
Apparently 7 miles.
I'll be damned.
Bringing out.
Is John doing math?
Oh, I'm about
Is
to.
John doing math off
I'm gonna,
to the side?
I'm gonna do it with a calculator.
Ruh-roh.
He's on a side quest.
Yeah, you got me.
While he's on that, do we want to travel north up the coast or across the bay there? From Eggard to whatever that is. I'm just gonna ping.
I think straight line would only
I'm down.
just make that next coast.
Well, this is like contested territory here, the yellow green, right?
I think there's probably a higher chance of us running into something related to them there. And if we make it over...
There's some type of map marker on that next peninsula. I think we flew
Yeah.
over it.
Divided by 4.
Oh, we don't want to sleep while flying. Like I don't know that resting while we're in the air is super great, right?
37 plus 150.
Because like technically we could.
187 days. If you were just flying, every
That's long
time,
enough to get around the world.
every 4 days having to stop and respawn the. Well, no, it's certainly not around this world, no, but maybe like the actual world, sure.
It was a bug.
Oh, fair enough. Around the world.
We don't read.
You are correct. I don't.
How do you
I
know
still
what-
don't.
we?
I still know the names of the
How
titles
do you
of
know
books.
what a book
He's
is?
heard of books.
How many hexes per day?
So you move 5,
Jackie Chan did a movie about it.
and
He
you go
did.
20 hexes before the ship needs to repower. Technically, if you sleep in shifts, you could do like 4 days worth of flight in 2 days, and then power down for a day. So you could cut it nearly in half if you do sleep in or fly in ships. But again, that's
Are
all.
we on the hex that Ezekiel's covering right now?
Correct. Ezekiel
Yeah,
is
we-
Mascot Boy.
We can't make landfall unless we sleep through the flight then. If we're going for the peninsula.
Which peninsula?
The one directly north of us.
It's 6 hexes
You
minimum.
could just move here and then jump from
Yeah, they
there.
were saying that's contested territory and they didn't want to land in it.
No, it's not.
I'm not against it. I'm just saying that there's a risk.
Why did we say it was contested territory?
Isn't this where the
No, stop. This
come from?
area
Okay.
here is fucked up.
I thought they came from the west.
Oh, they do come from the west, but like, to your knowledge, there's no reason to believe.
They're more focused south of the mountain.
Correct.
Got it.
There is again rumors, and also some of those rumors have been told to you to be true. That the Fort Ordeal in the forest south of and in the shadow of Bloodrock has been taken over and is being held by Denisovans. But then again, that information is ancient. It's like comparatively, like that's months old. So you can't be for certain whether or not there is actually anybody present at Fort Ordeal or not.
Here's the question: how did the sky battle go? Were we able to observe any of it? Has it happened?
No, so you would have lost sight of it as you kind of maneuvered to Eggard, because again,
And
you
it's pretty
backtracked.
far away.
You backtracked. You would have seen like what you saw though. It did look like conglomerate ships were kind of moving to face them off at Balthanir.
Okay.
It's about 19 hexes to Blood Rock if we do a flyover through
You-
the forest. We could
you-
scout it on the way by.
Fucking Cumsley. He's known me for like maybe a month or two. Like, and he's like, oh yeah, John doing math IRL, his IRL psyched him.
He's been watching your streams.
Oh, I guess
He knows how you
that's
do.
true. Yeah, he is super fan. Oh my
He's
god,
super cool. He's a really nice
he's
guy.
great. We played Cyberpunk on Wednesday. He did great.
Yeah, he's a fun guy.
Yeah. Dan threw grenades in a fucking restaurant.
Was it a Denny's?
No, it was a really
No,
fancy, expensive
It
restaurant.
was like an upscale
Oh.
Fazoli's.
Uncalled for.
The property damage was $35,000.
Seems low for a grenade.
Well, it threw it out a door.
That's marketing's problem.
So, it didn't really hit like tables or anything cool. Anyhow,
But anyway, 19 hexes if we go from here to Blood Rock, and we can do a flyover of that place we're supposed to be scouting anyway.
Do we want to spend 4 days in the plane?
Well, it could be 2 days, like I said, if you sleep in shifts.
How many pilots do we have? 3? 2.5? 1 and
3.
3/4?
Andy, Nix can fly. Brent's character Ezekiel can fly,
No.
right? Or were you were
Me.
It was Bodhi.
I was
Bodhi
counting.
and
I was
Uther.
counting, like,
Bodhi, so that's 2. That's it, right?
We need either Nix or Bodhi for the takeoff and the landing. I can keep it steady for a pass.
All right. Well, let's get old Nick's kitted out, and I don't know. Silas, give us a push.
Slap on the leather aviator's cap with the goggles.
We have space for my lad, right?
Those little guys
My-
popping out of little holes you make.
Oh yeah, for sure. We got room for him. There's always room for him.
I've already forgotten his name. Sport
Plug.
Splug.
Slug.
Yeah, he is still there. Very much just kind of like he's eating one of the chickens. But you're like, wait, they were all like abyssal chickens.
I'm not stopping him.
It's fine.
He knows what's food.
Well, when an abyssal chicken dies, it poofs and disappears.
They vanish.
But
They go back.
He somehow has a part of abyssal chicken that he is currently consuming.
That's fine. We're
he's
not
still
worried
eating.
about that.
I'm proud of him.
Look,
We
I already
need our
have,
boy
like,
to eat. He's gonna be a strong boy.
look, I'm like 80% sure he's going to be final boss at the end of this campaign anyway.
Can I get
A
his name
Splug will-
one more time?
Splug just
gonna
Slug.
one-shot us, bro.
A Splug will never turn on you.
Well, what would be funny is if you find out that, like, in truth, John Dupre's campaign setting, it's like a Greek mythology, so it's like Atlas, but instead of Atlas carrying the world, it's a Splug. He's just like, oh, I gotta carry your burdens.
God bless him.
The henchman just carries the planet. So you get to fly, and again, just tell me how you want to plan that out, and I will tell you what I need you to roll for the purposes of the travel.
What kind of altitude are we thinking?
That's important too.
Minimum assumed safe, I would think. The only establishments we know of are on the peninsula and in the forest.
100 or so feet off the ground.
100-ish feet, yeah.
Yep.
And what kind of route you feeling, Uther? You're a clever lad.
Pretty direct. I would say almost due north and then not break until we're in the hexagonal line of the forest.
So like this-ish for the first
Yeah, right into that hex you're pointing at.
day and a half, 2 days.
3
3 days.
northwest.
Okay.
Either do
All
a
right.
pass
Remember,
over
they're
or a
taking
lap.
shifts on it, so it's not going to take 4 days.
I take 2.
I keep forgetting. I'm very, very clever.
Clever boy. Flaming hot chicken wing, correct. It's spicy. Why is it spicy?
Why is it spicy?
Perfect. Well done. So yeah, if you are flying by the seat of your pants, and we're doing like during the day, it's Nix, and then shift into like a Bodhi kind of situation.
How's the weather?
It's great, actually. It's very clear. What you'll realize, though, is like over the water, it's a bit windy. Real quick question: are we setting off?
Anybody disagree? I think everybody's cool with it.
I don't want to assume that you're flying.
Nobody skipped out on any downtime activity before this?
Doesn't sound like it was the case. Nobody really got skipped
Okay.
on anything. Yeah.
Just the repair weapons.
Yep.
My current vote is Nix, Uther, Bodhi, Nix in order of pilot.
Sounds good.
Shody, real quick. You had 2 weapons that you needed repaired, right?
Yeah.
In the downtime, you'd only have been able to get 1. So choose which one you want and just move it up a step.
Okay. I'll do that when I look.
Cool,
See-
cool,
Remember where they are.
cool. So then we are flying. Okay, if that's the case. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For the first series, it's going to be a total of 3 20-sided dice rolls. And then also, I would like for the active pilot during the transfer. So it'd be the person at the end of the day who would basically be transferring over to the night shift, so to speak.
The orders in chat.
Got it. Which chat? Okay, got it.
Roll 20, yeah.
I never look at that thing. Okay, cool. So then it would be Nyx during the day, Uther during the night. Is that right?
If that's the time of day we're leaving and how long it takes, then yeah.
Yeah, you're leaving pretty early in the day. Long resting, daytime, flying.
Since I wasn't pilot trained, I'm not doing the takeoff or the landing, and I'm
Right.
going to go for the safest
Got it.
cruise. As we get closer to our target, those two take over.
So you're kind of in the middle of the day. So you're actually the one transferring over, because it'll be kind of closer to land. You're not going to pilot for 8 full hours. That's madness. You'll probably switch over at some point, kind of middling. Okay.
How
So-
long do you think one of us could pilot then? Because that would affect the order.
Honestly, think how long you can drive like a car, effectively.
So 3 hexes, like a half day, just over.
Like I'd say like 2.5. You basically be swapping seats at that point, and then at the end of the 5, like when it starts to shift into nighttime, whoever's passing the torch there would go to like the nighttime shifter, which would be Bodhi, and Nyx will have already been asleep long enough that he'll wake up in the middle of the night and be able to take flight.
Yeah. Ultimate goal is I'm in the middle with Nyx and Bodhi doing the piloting over our actual target destinations.
And real quick to address the chat, I can see your chat, so that's fine, but the Bardic Inspiration only lasts 10 minutes. We're talking about hour-long spans here, Andy, so if you are Bardic Inspiring someone, it'll probably be for more kind of like nuanced maneuvering, like landing, avoiding things, if he's conscious. It'll be for like reactionary kind of situations, not for long durationals. Does that make sense? And post it in chat if you think that makes sense.
For maneuvers.
Yeah, because it's a 10-minute window. It's not like a long... Basically, like Bardic Inspiration, no amount of it is going to help me drive to Chicago, right? like that is a long...
I don't know. You get a good enough
You
play.
never had a good mixtape?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Nyx needs to boost up the mix track. So
That
maybe we
doesn't
can
help the traffic or the construction on
No.
65. You're
No.
all
Yeah, but-
dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you could put on the Blues Brothers soundtrack.
In the rare occurrence, me and Jeremy agree. Yay! So, no flight rolls are necessary. We're talking about very easy stuff. The piloting of it up is requires like you to have training. You do, so you fly. And then as you kind of pass over into the water, like I was saying, the wind is definitely heavier over the coast, like off of land, but not detrimental to a point where it's barring you from travel. Basically, like it's light turbulence is what you're experiencing during the flight. And then as you pass from Nyx to Uther during that kind of halfway point during the day, you're kind of well enough over water. Let me make sure I am double checking that right. So you'd basically be moving into the 3rd hex. And what that would mean is you're kind of passing the torch, and Uther, you would be keen enough to see that down in kind of like a cairn of a mountain, kind of peninsula situated, you see what appears to be a white tower that on its own just looks like it's standing there kind of hidden away from the land, but visible to the sea. You do not know what it is by historics, but you do recognize its architecture. It's similar to the Ghost Tower, the tower that you could see out of in the center of the kind of White Sands land up near Penford. Do you remember that tower?
Yeah, the invisible one.
Yep.
I do remember us being in an invisible tower.
I would call it out to the other guys that have the goggles.
It's just Nyx, I think.
Okay.
So the rest of us
Then
wouldn't be able to see it.
Bodhi for somebody else to
Next, we'll take a look and
understand.
report that it is a tower. It does look like there's a decent enough place for landing, but again, if only if you want to investigate this random tower that you're passing over.
Would we be able to see it, the rest of us? Like,
Yeah,
would I know what
yeah.
it is with my like history?
History won't tell you much. Again, it's very similar to the White Tower that they found in the White Sands. It is, to you, I mean, it's a conglomerate-made tower, but it's a very old conglomerate tower.
The first one we found was completely empty except the elevator. And then at night, it became transparent and we could see through the walls, right?
Correct.
That sounds risky if we're in a plane. Now I'm thinking about it. Like, was it transparent from the outside too?
No, we can see it from the outside.
Oh, okay,
It's just
cool.
while you're in it, the walls disappear and you can see for miles.
Got an asshole built an invisible tower.
Well, it's not so much that it's invisible for.
It predates airplanes. They didn't know.
Fair.
It's not so much that it's invisible from the outside, because outside, like he said, it is still visible.
A lot of dead birds outside it.
When you're inside it, you can see as if you were just kind of hovering in the air, like 300 feet above the ground.
I personally vote pass, but if you guys are interested in it,
Got one vote for pass for Ezekiel.
Hey, I'm always about exploring. I vote go it. Discover cursed item, possibly, hopefully.
Again, there is a mission in hand, but what is Sanat saying about the random tower off to the side there?
I think that we do have a mission at hand, but I'm neutral in this.
Okay, so we have one vote yes, one vote no, one vote I abstain.
Stay on the
Uther?
mission.
Stay on mission. Two for mission. Uther.
I really don't care either way.
Neutral. So we're gonna go ahead and say that's verified. Stay on mission.
we got a flight plan to maintain.
That's fine. Yeah, we'll just tag it and remember where it is in case we need to come back. The other one had a well in it, right?
It did not have a well in it.
Okay.
So I need 3d20 rolls for day one. So just everybody roll one, except for like two of you. I guess.
Brett rolled one, Jeremy and I only
6.
roll one.
Jeremy got one.
Head.
Okay. So your flight
Nice
is
middle of the road.
Your flight is uneventful. You don't have much trouble. You're towards the end of your cycle, as you're kind of like, at the very beginning of it, like during your flight, it's kind of like, white knuckles, kind of like, focusing on the task at hand. Nyx kind of gives you some
Oh,
light.
no, I'm so happy to be doing this.
Well, like at first, it's like, there's like some shakiness. It's
You're
kind of,
excited but anxious.
Nyx is giving you the instructions, and once you kind of like, spend about like 30 minutes kind of like hanging out doing it, there isn't really much to it, and you find like grasp that, like, it's not as bad as you thought it would be. As you're coming close to nightfall, as evening time is kind of coming in, you've got the sun setting, the landscape's kind of bathed in purplish light from the sun kind of falling behind the horizon. Up ahead at the peninsula where you expect to be kind of flying over once you pass the reins off, you see that this shore here, from what you can tell, is littered with ships. They don't look like they're parked or like, at like anchor. Looks like the ships have crashed into the cliffs that you're about to pass over. And when I say littered,
swear to whatever Christ is in this world, if we have to go change another light bulb, I'm gonna be pissed.
and when I say littered, I don't mean like there's like a couple or three. There are dozens, nearly 100 or so ships that look like they've just been kind of scattered into the rocks. Their make is definitely not something that you're familiar with. Having lived in Penford for at least a year, you would know the very typical kind of like stylings of ships that come through there. These are very, very much foreign like stylings of ships that have been kind of dashed across the rocks. And you would be passing the buck over to Bodhi as you kind of, are shifting through that. And Bodhi, you've had a little bit of a nap. You know how it is to try and fall asleep on like a flying machine. I don't know if anybody else has the same problem I have.
Nah, man, it's super easy. You just close your eyes and you're out.
I can't do it. I can't. I didn't even sleep at all on the flight to England. It was crazy.
I've
Can't
only
do it.
ever flown like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
Stop
They were
flying
very
coach.
short flights.
Fair enough. But yeah, Bodhi, you now have the wheel, and again, you would see the wreckages of ships. Bodhi,
Did we not see a ship of some importance while we were going from the sunken temple to Swordbreak?
yeah. So you saw a ship being attacked by pirates. It was
Okay.
it was a Penford.
That was before that. It was south of the Clockwork Lair.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah, it was kind
And
of.
if none of these are familiar to me, and I don't know that I would recognize what kind of time frame, how long these have been there.
It looks like they. I mean, just from kind of skyward, looking at them from 100 feet above, it definitely looks like they've been there for a while. If you want to pilot the ship closer to check it more thoroughly, you can. It's entirely up to you whether or not that's an option you want to fulfill or not.
Nah, we gotta keep flying.
Okay, if you continue to go straight as it looks like your marker would be doing, you would see that there are lights in the distance as the darkness starts to kind of take over the skyline. There's enough of a twilight in the Dargian Rift's bright lights. Out of character note, Dargian Rift is basically world's version of Milky Way. It's a large black strip across the sky that is basically surrounded by bright lights, star clusters, and the like. But you would see lights on the ground. Looks like there's some sort of settlement here-ish. And then you would also see, kind of, as you're coming up onto the land, it looks like there's some sort of structure on these flatlands kind of over and off to the side. It's the only thing that appears to be kind of present for miles on this kind of higher flatland.
And what does that look like?
From this distance, it just looks like a kind of block, a shadow of a block out in the distance. Probably somewhere around 300 feet tall, at least.
Okay.
But it's just like the only thing on the horizon or on the, like, that's not just flat land. And the land that you're going over, it definitely looks like it's kind of, it's not desert. I would say it's kind of like the terrain and kind of like the American kind of like frontier lands. Try and picture that kind of like, grasslands, but like really flat.
Yeah,
Like there aren't really a lot of rocks are present. It's not really desert. It's not really a desert. It's like
Scrubby.
it's scrubland. Yeah.
With him kind of focusing on it, can I peer into it and try to give him some more details, stuff he can't see, the dark vision and the eyes of the eagle?
Yeah, so because it is so dark, the only thing that you're really able to tell about it is it does look like it is a structure that has kind of like design patternings along the edges. So it's not just like a flat cube kind of sitting out there, but it is cube shaped. It does look like it has kind of stylistic kind of sides though, and because it's so dark, dark vision only going out 60 feet. But because it's so dark, you can only kind of tell that like it might have something on its facade, like the wall, the front wall has been carved in a specific way, but you can't see the details from this far out.
Some kind of old fort. That's my guess.
It doesn't appear to be hollow, like a fort wall.
It doesn't look like a castle. Yeah, like castles kind of have like a.
Oh, okay.
No, it definitely looks like it's a block.
It's a very solid structure.
Yep.
Uh,
Out of character for you guys, very similar to the Doom Vault. Like there was just like a block of stone that was out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah,
that was a fun place.
it was.
I got to kick the piss out of a shark.
And it wouldn't really take us any longer to just dive down, get a closer look, and come back up, right?
Well, it's over there, so it's that thing that's
Okay.
kind of like
We would have to go like 2-3 hexes out of our way.
Okay, we spotted that from Flat Flap on the way south, right?
Yep.
Yes.
And this is not a better view than we had.
No, it's a worse.
Not
view.
at night. I'm willing to pass it up. I'd rather
fine.
focus on getting to the fort we're meant to be at.
Okay.
If anybody heavily disagrees, I see you, Brent. We can come back later. We have a plane.
For the remainder of the day, it goes by uneventfully. You switch off in the middle of the night from Bodhi to Nyx, and Nyx is basically taking the morning shift and kind of rotating through to Uther. Is that what we got? Okay. Just want to make sure I
Yeah, I should be right, because that'll put me at the next coast, and then those two get to do the hard stuff.
Yeah, I'm glad I grokked that okay. So during the next day, again, as everything is, the only other things that you would note as the sun is starting to rise is there is this small peninsula here, and there does appear to be a very massive statue of what appears to be a knightly type person with their spear pointed off to the east or the west. what that statue is, I would say Ezekiel and Sanat can roll history checks, even if you don't have it trained, Brent. Just because you're kind of from nearabouts here. Okay. Really good roll. And also really good roll. So the statue is an honorific to one of the heroes of the Osir Vale. This statue specifically is a representation of the knight Kelgar, who was a half-orc paladin who was a member of the Guild of Malbranch during the historically heroic times of the beginning of the Fourth Age. But it's massive. I'd say probably about 100 feet tall, so very noticeable from up here. And he's pointing a spear in the westerly direction.
I mean, we already know I'm gonna vote to stop and see it.
But you're going to be overridden. It's literally,
Yeah.
Can we go? Can we go? Can we go? No, I'll turn this
We have
airship
statues at
around.
home.
Yeah, we've got statues.
We have not stopped for the bathroom. I will point that out. We've been flying for like 2 days straight.
Just hang it over the edge.
Yeah,
Just
you
going over the edge.
I'm presuming that it's being hung over the edge and let out that way. Obviously, D&D very rarely
Hold
talks
Blood's
about
hands.
the particulars. But
BRB guys, I gotta do some cloud kicking real quick. Mud Raven.
don't eat
Gotta go
yellow.
make some rain.
Don't eat yellow clouds. So shitting and pissing aside,
Yeah.
I need 3 more d20 rolls. We're obviously going to be continuing for the remainder of the number of hexes here. Is our goal to land at Bloodrock?
No, our goal will be outside the Bloodrock for sure, because it is under the control of Bad Lady that somebody told us the name of.
Okay, and you're going to be flying over Fort Ordeal.
Yeah, we want to do a fairly low pass because we needed to scout it anyway, so we should take a look at it.
Got it.
Brett, take the last D20.
Is it going to be daylight when we pass it?
Yeah.
Okay, then the pilot's goggles and the eyes of the eagle.
It'll be really close to that nighttime transition.
Is it buried in the forest or kind of sitting in a clearing?
So it sits on a. You'll see it as you come upon it. Probably from a distance out in. It's up on a large hill that stands over the forest. The hill itself is barren of trees, and there's kind of like a nice ring around the fort hill that is also cleared of trees.
Because I was assumed to have been there before, right? Because of my proximity.
Correct.
Okay, so knowing the layout, I would tell them like we'll keep just low enough that we can get a good look at it.
Yeah, and dart into the cover of trees if need be.
Yeah.
So when you're passing over it, what you'll notice there are just a shit ton of dead people all over the place.
That's good.
It looks like they are in varying states of decay. Some of them look like they have been kind of torn apart. You'll actually see a pack of wolves kind of fighting over a bit of a person, but they've been here for months. So that, again, they're kind of fighting over scraps that are probably not worth anything. And in this flyover, you kind of don't see any kind of signs of movement other than kind of the wild animals on the side, kind of near the forest line with these people. I would like for everyone, since you're probably doing this during the day, kind of close to the end, and I think only Bodhi would probably be asleep. So the rest of you then, again, just due to your cycle.
What are the quality of the rests that we're taking while flying?
Pretty good. Yeah, you're
Long
not,
rests?
Yeah, you're able to get long rests in.
How many would Uther have gotten
One
since
so
he's
far.
got his?
So he's -2s.
Just trying to keep track of that.
Good.
Gotta do your stretches, mister.
What do you think about cloud kicking?
I thought you were just
Doing tricks.
I thought you were just pooping it.
So everybody besides Bodhi, go ahead and make a perception check. Again, you have a -2 to your roll.
Is it still site based?
Uh-huh.
10.
So, Ezekiel and Sanat, you are able to see that there does appear to be one person who looks like they might be alive in this space. High on the fort, kind of on its southern side, there is a pyre. The pyre is completely ashed over and blackened from burn, just sitting there as if it was lit and has just been left there, to cinder out. Seated on the kind of north facing of that pyre, as you're kind of moving to check it, is a person with gray skin, blue tattoos, and red armor.
We should definitely check
And the armor is kind of like a leather, but it's a very kind of like bright, or kind of crimson-y kind of red.
If I wake up and you guys have picked up a hitchhiker, I'll be nervous.
We should definitely check that out.
That's
That's our main quest goal anyway. So if we stop to check that out, we're doing our mission.
If you
Yeah.
point it out,
Scouting and reporting is the mission.
if you point it out to Uther and you kind of focus in on it, Uther, you would recognize the individual just based on their tattoos and markings. This is someone important to your clan. It is the prince of the clan that you know for a fact, based on reports, died here.
But he ain't dead.
There he says.
Zach, not exactly.
I'm just snoozing.
Maybe used to was.
It's like I know I said we should stop at all of them, but we should definitely stop at this one.
I'm not against that.
I mean, we're pretty much told that they were all murdered anyway, so him being alive is pretty significant information.
Okay.
So
Nix, take us down.
we'll have Bodhi set us down somewhere in the cover.
I'm sleeping.
Bear with me here for a second.
There you
Boop, boop, boop.
go. He was on the south side.
So he's on the south side of the fort. I'm trying to get the map out here. It's being
That's
difficult.
fine. So we can have Bodhi land us like at the edge of the hex on the south side.
Hold on.
Are the trees like able to be navigated in airplane?
There we go.
If you're good enough.
Nope, that's the
Bodhi
interior.
gotta be.
You ought to be a lot of things, but
Comedian ain't one of them.
he's a healer. But as you've noticed, he's dabbled in information.
Hell of an instrument player.
I gotta get Flap Flap out of there.
Are you talking about Nix? You're talking about Nix.
That might have been what I meant.
You said Bodhi like 3 times. I was
Listen,
like, I'm sleeping.
shut up. You're
Got
asleep.
it.
Shut up.
Okay.
Oh,
Don't
no.
make me be mean to you.
I'd rather you didn't.
Okay, so
I'll
Real good at
dilute you. I will dilute your ass in water.
my blood hurts. Oh, hold on. Roll 20 did me dirty here.
You need to go back to the bathroom?
No. I am
Garlic's good for the blood.
I am done shitting and or pissing.
I mean, sometimes
Nobody
both,
believes you.
both happen.
GM layer, copy all, get rid of. Okay. The map was so older maps on my thing were kind of destroyed because they were the wrong format. So this one I ran quite a while ago, and unfortunately it took us forever to get here, so it destroyed it. So give me a minute here while I try and figure out if I have the original. Pretty sure I do. I just have to
Take your time.
find it. Battle maps.
Uther will use the help action to assist Nix in landing, I assume.
Oh, come on.
He's our only like real pilot.
I took a day course.
You sure did.
Not
Not saying you're not better at it than me, but
Yeah, I get the gist.
Oh, this sucks.
It's not rocket science.
well,
Well,
It's It's a little rocket ship.
You are
Only
right.
because it wasn't an option to add one.
I mean, technically, it is kind of a rocket. Like, it's a big old thing of elemental that shoots like elemental juice out of it to get you going.
We're falling with style.
Yeah, I just lit a rocket. Rockets explode. That's a line from the popular hit movie Toy Story. If you aren't familiar,
It's like you're trying to get sued.
by Disney. Yeah, I've been fighting Disney. I can't remember if it was Tuesday or Friday.
You think they won't?
But there was like definitely a lot of fucking Disney references. It was aggravating. I kept on. It was Tuesday. Yeah. Okay. So where the fuck this map though? I hate you. Roll 20. I hate you so much.
No, we're all having a good time.
Oh, they had a. So basically, if you're in the GM community for long enough, they start sending you like, "Hey, check out this new feature before anybody else gets to see it." And I can't tell you about it. What I can tell you is it's really cool, and I can't wait for it to happen.
Sure as a shame it doesn't work.
No, it's not this. It doesn't have anything to do with this. It has something.
Nah, it
to
must
do
be
with...
this.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I couldn't tell
Seems
you.
like a super cool feature.
Actually, I couldn't tell you even if
Super
it
cool
was.
feature you're not allowed to tell us about. Broke all your shit.
I don't want to tell you while I'm live streaming. I'm not going to tell you off stream either. Okay.
Good.
Roll 20. Don't.
You'd get in a lot of trouble.
Don't come for
Imagine.
me. Don't come for. I found it.
Argentina.
I'm
That's
so happy
cry.
with this.
Same thing, different orifice.
Whoa.
No.
What?
Moving past it. Y'all
A
drop
drop's
the
a
thing.
drop.
What?
I am sorry. What?
Jeremy's confusing his humors. Damn.
Oh wow.
And now his face is hidden. How convenient. There he is.
Oh
There's my
man.
guy. That's good eye contact.
Okay.
I said it, I'm not afraid of it.
What the heck?
There's too many blood letters sitting out.
Okay, I've almost got it, folks. I've almost got it.
Oh, okay. I thought you had it. You insinuated that you had it.
I'm a failure. Failure.
I was led to believe that you had it.
I'm a failure. I just have to let you know that I failed you.
I'm so excited
How
about finally
dare.
getting to explore.
Is it one shift over?
Jody, how you been?
Perfect. And then dynamic lighting.
Right on. Good talk, buddy.
Bit. Bop. And then
Are you measuring something, Jody?
Maybe.
You don't have one of those at your desk?
I got like 4 sitting around here.
okay.
Hold the ruler back, it makes you feel
I was
better.
like, I just saw you like lean forward and like measure something. I'm like, what does he do?
I'm just putting
I
the
am
tokens
making a template.
on the
The
map,
ruler backwards.
and then I am pulling
that didn't click with me right away.
Did that work? Okay, great. Cool. So
No,
you're,
I got denied. It just.
you're flying over it, and like I said, the pyre there on the south side of it looks like it has a person on it. I mentioned GM mode. Bam, seated on the space. Oh wow. What? Oh, because this is on the you motherfucker.
Put it on the wrong layer.
The map layer. Okay, perfect. There he goes. All right. So, forward ordeal from above. I will get the boat, the flying ship here in a second.
Did we ever name it?
It would be.
We'll circle back to that. That's fair.
The sea duck.
The Darkwing.
Been it.
But yeah, this is the. Oh my God, computer! For fuck's sake!
I like how often.
Lolly.
I like how often we make references to old cartoons.
Somebody out there has to get it.
Those are the best
Oh, yeah.
cartoons.
We had an audience. Oh boy.
Just because we're old doesn't mean we're biased. Okay,
Ah.
maybe a little bit.
Oh, wheel.
Oh yeah.
Okay, did I just post it in the? What does she want? There it is.
Are we
Okay.
landing inside the fort somehow?
That's up to you.
Nix would have to be a pretty ace pilot to do that.
Does it have vertical takeoff and landing?
It does, so it's pretty easy to maneuver spatially.
If you stall out the engine, just right into it.
But in Sooth, he is probably not going to be able to land it due to its size very easily inside of the space. So he's going to have to land at the base.
My assumption was it was pretty treacherous, and we were going to land at the very edge of the hex and walk up here.
Yeah, that's fine. You'll be north of here, basically. I'll go ahead and...
I was going to go south, since we
Fine,
know
but-
bad is north.
You can't
Kind
climb...
of sort of clearing.
Oh, so you're landing to the south, but coming around to the north side. Okay.
If that's what it requires, then sure.
Yeah.
And I have boots of climbing, so I can do whatever I want.
I'm trying to make sure that the scale is right.
I have a slime and
5, 6,
Can be
7,
carried
8.
by either.
Yeah, that's perfect. It's 8 by 8.
And or
nerds.
slug.
So that's how big this bad boy is.
I'll carry Splug, Splug carries you.
Just so we understand, like, yeah, it's just not... It's really not fitting.
Landed on him, right into him.
So it's going to be at the bottom there, but it's not actually landed there. It's probably a little further off map. But, yeah.
I would hope it's not that close. Otherwise, we'd have to call out.
So once you land it and start making your way up, it's just bodies for everywhere. Like, there's just dead bodies all on the stairs, all throughout. Some of them look like they're in a state of decay. This music is not good enough for this description. There's just too much going on, John. You need to plan better for this. I didn't think you were going to...
I'll say that I'm going to have a look at the bodies and attempt medicine to see what kind of state they're in, if that's plausible
we
and or
outside?
not obvious.
We're outside the fort currently.
Yeah, so I assume that you're moving around the outside to the north side to head up the
There's a couple of
steps.
trailer park girls.
Trailer
Yeah.
park girls. I heard
around
it too.
that side, on that side. So what I'll say is that the state of the bodies, they have been dead for some time. I don't think that most of them would have decayed to a point where they're not like recognizable. Like it definitely has kind of like a greenish pallor. The nails have kind of like fallen out. The body has bloated and in some cases like broken. And a lot of the body has kind of started to liquefy. So it's not
Gross.
fully like decomposed. It's been about a month or so that they've been kind of left out here, a few months or so. So some of them are in kind of absolutely disrepair. Others are kind of like, starting to reveal bone.
Are these obviously soldiers? Are they
So
civilian? Are they wearing colors?
there are a lot of Jernarans. There are also a decent amount of Blood Rock individuals. You'd also see that there are people in kind of
When you say Blood Rock individuals, you're talking about
Goliaths.
Goliaths, okay.
You'd also note that there are people that you don't recognize, but they are seemingly the ones that left the most behind. Their arms appear to have been longer than normal, humanoids, and they were wearing what appears to be kind of like a brass or bronze armor. The weapons that they wield are very strange looking, very kind of... there's really no rhyme or reason to the functionality of their kind of blades. What I mean to say is it looks like it's just poured metal that's been sharpened in all different kind of spikes and points. Let me see if I can find a picture of just a generic soldier here. Dennis Otvin.
It's not super important. I'm
Yeah,
curious
no, again,
who
the
who was
armor,
present.
the armor and weapons would be very similar in kind to what I just posted in the general there.
Okay. Oh, that's kind of neat.
Those would be the standard Denisovin warriors. As you actually make your way up the steps, somewhere around here, you would actually see what appear to be women who were wearing very little. Um, Based on how they died, it looks like they died of wound trauma. But every single one of them, all 10 of them, appear to have wounds directly in their throats, and there's like a dagger kind of hanging in the liquid and kind of bone material that's kind of left behind. Um, Yeah, but they're mostly like wearing very little, and it looks like they have an axe that's very similar in kind to the kind of bladed weapon the Denisovin warrior has. And they also
The
are,
weapons themselves are mostly nondescript, not
yeah.
of value to.
Well,
Okay.
in all honesty, they're very crude to what you would consider, but like from what you
Sure.
can tell, they're also very sharp. So Denisovin weapons are not martial weapons. They're not simple weapons. They're kind of like their own qualifier, and they all have the same weapon property of keen, which means they crit on one higher.
And it's a tribe of women that took over Bloodrock, right?
Correct. And the women here are Denisovin women, so the ones with the blades in their necks.
Oh, okay. They actually have the arm thing.
Yep.
It wasn't confirmed whether or not the leader of that was Dennis Hoppen.
Oh, it definitely was. Yeah, she
Oh,
was.
okay.
Very much so. The gate, the portcullis, is down, but from what it looks like there was acid kind of burned out in a roughly door-shaped kind of frame, which allowed access into the fort. And as you come into this space, you'll see that hanging from the defenses, kind of up above you, Bodhi, and kind of around here, it's seemingly like done intentionally, are what appear to be like Penford militia, armsmen who have been kind of thrown over the rail, their bodies kind of like liquefying to the ground and kind of putrefying over the course of time. But it looks like they were hung out as a display.
We can pass the portcullis then.
Yeah, you walk right through it. There is no gate here on this side as you come up.
The soldiers of Penford wouldn't carry any kind of dog tag adjacent thing, would they? I'll try to collect some of those while the others are looking around.
I'm gonna beeline away from everybody else with the boots and take a straighter line toward the prince and call out to him like a solemn cousin.
When you call out to him, you see him kind of turn his head and kind of look in your direction, and his eyes seem to have been gouged out. As you're looking directly at him, you just see two solid dark holes where eyes should be. There is a smattering of blood kind of on his face. In his hand, he wields the bloodletter axe, which is his right to wield. Not axe, bloodletter hammer. It's basically a big old fiend-looking mallet of death. And he's kind of like holding that kind of astride his lap as he kind of stares at you with no eyes. And in Giant, he says, "All who live in this place are mine by right."
All live in this place are mine by right.
All who live in this place are mine by right. But the specific Goliath translation is more, those who are alive in this place are mine by right.
Should I understand what that means?
Basically, he has claimed this as his fief. When a giant lays claimancy over a place, they are very territorial. Or a giant-blooded individual. But yours is yours, and you make sure everyone who's around you knows it.
I'd reply in Giant, it's yours for sure, cousin.
as are all those who live in this place. And he slowly starts to stand up, the hammer kind of like falling from his lap onto the ground with a thud. And Ezekiel and Sanat kind of walk around to see him. As you kind of come to this place, looking up at him, you can see.
I'd throw my hand up knowing he can't currently see, I'm assuming, and get Ezekiel and Sanat to stop where they are.
From what you two can notice, as he's kind of turning his head and like moving his face, it doesn't look like he's doing so blindly. It definitely looks like he is following the rhythms of someone who has eyes to see, despite now you seeing kind of what you're looking at. He steps down from the steps, his hand kind of lazily left on the hammer, the hilt, as he kind of steps down one step. The hammer kind of drags down behind him and kind of clunks down the steps, breaking parts of stone away from it as he does so.
I'll approach and like take a knee and put my hand out as whatever the Goliath custom's going to be in this.
Yep. So Prince Inware is the name of the prince. I don't know if your notes had that or not. I'll go ahead
No,
and type
he
it.
wasn't named yet.
No, he was. He's been named.
Or not to me, he wasn't.
Right.
Sorry.
But he kind of looks at you and says, I must take which is mine, and I must break it all. Kind of points at you. You are of my blood.
Yes.
I must break you. That is my curse. The witches.
Who has cursed you?
The witches.
Meanwhile, I'm cutting soldiers off of the wall.
No,
Man, just shoot me up here. We'll say Silas gave me a boosty.
yeah, Silas is probably like hanging out with you. And then Nyx is probably standing in the median, kind of between the two. Just in case communications were
Smart.
Sounds like an Andy move. I must destroy you.
Why?
I have been ordered to do so.
Since when do you take orders?
Ever since that day, I rushed out of the gates of ordeal and fought on its steps. While everyone died around me, I fought on. In the end, her power was too great. She has taken more from me than my sight. And again, it doesn't look like he is making any kind of like he is staring at you. The fact that his eyes are not there is the only thing that would make you think that he's not. Everything about his just mannerisms seems like he is cognizant and visually capable.
I also learned how to see without eyes. It's fine.
Right. Blood rocks are kind of specialists in tunnel sight, so you would understand that he probably is blind, but probably isn't blind.
You don't sound like much of a cousin of mine.
There are none left.
Then finish the line. If you're gonna bend the knee, what's the point in being alive?
I cannot take my own life.
Then kneel and I'll do it for you. Spare your ancestors the dishonor.
Make a persuasion roll.
Ooh.
7?
I'll give him my inspiration.
19?
He steps down.
That's an interesting one.
He steps down before you. He drops to one knee. Uses the maul as kind of a means of kind of squatting down. As he does so, you can hear kind of just creaking from his body. And once he kind of gets to a kneeling position in front of you, you can see that there are wounds like all over his body that his armor, in its bright red color, has done well to hide from you from a distance in sight. As he kind of places his hand, like he has one hand up on the hammer's pommel, and his other hand kind of on the ground, braced with a fist. He says, "I am cursed. If you kill me, you will take upon yourself the onus of that curse."
So be it. There's nothing left of me. I read him the last rites of the Blood Rock, swear to him that his weapon will be buried or burned with him, and finish the job.
Do you do so with his own weapon, as is custom, or no?
If that's the custom, then yeah.
Yeah. So basically, he puts his head down, you take up the maul, lift it above your head, struggling with it a bit at first, and then kind of like getting a good grasp on it. You drop the hammer down. Go ahead and make an attack roll. You're proficient with mauls, you're ranger. But yeah, just go ahead and make an attack roll based off strength, if you will. I just want to see if you botch it or not.
Is it a strength save or just a strength roll?
You're proficient with it, so it would be strength. You're proficient with strength saves?
No, actually.
Okay. Yeah, then yeah, it should be a strength proficiency. So just go ahead and roll a strength save, and then I'll add some numbers. You are proficient with strength saves. There's no way you have a +7 strength.
Okay.
So 15 will work.
Sorry, my other numbers were high.
Yeah, a 15 will work. As you bring the hammer up, strike down, you hit his head directly on the back and slam it straight down into the ground with kind of a sickening pop, and his body just kind of falls limp on the ground. The second that happens, the second his body kind of dies, I need you to make a charisma saving throw, Uther.
I'm pretty good at these. Hell yeah, 15. I am mad at that.
You feel like a weight come over you as the hammer kind of finishes its strike, and you immediately kind of let go of the hammer because like your body kind of slumps down over top of the corpse of Inweir. Everyone else just watches this very kind of sudden demise of the prince, and then you all kind of look to Uther, and with your soul sight you can realize that something has changed about Uther in this strike. It definitely feels like his aura has shifted colors from just kind of a generic bluish ghost color to more of a gray.
Hail Prince Uther?
Not how it works. Is the fire at the top of the hill still good?
It's smoldering. It's definitely mostly kind of just not lightable. There's no wood here that would service.
There's some thatch on these rooftops.
So it's not
Unless
actually,
they've all been burned away.
yeah, it's not actually displayed,
I forget.
but yeah, they are very much kind of in a state of disarray as well.
Is
was like-
his weapon magical?
His weapon is magical.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be destroyed in fire anyway.
Sure.
I'm going to start digging a hole.
Okay.
I'll help him.
So you'd immediately realize that the ground layer here is very much immediately rock. The second you kind of breach like a bit of top dirt level, and the grass kind of, that's growing here, it's like maybe 6 inches or so of real dirt, and then bam, it's rock. So you feel like it's probably best if you just kind of shove him in the cinders of the fire. But,
I'll drag the corpse around to the back of the pyre between him and the wall.
yeah.
Put them all on his chest and collapse the wall on top of him. Bury him in stone.
Do you want to collapse it with the maul in question?
If I can get it under the rocks at the same time, then yes.
Does anybody else want to stop
I'll
him?
help
I don't know.
him.
Or keeping
I was-
you're letting him.
Because I promised to bury him with that weapon. It
Okay.
dies with his blood.
Cool. Just making sure nobody's like, oh, magic.
He's doing
I'm like-
culture
You-
stuff.
You want-
can't have it.
I'm like, if you want some help, I can summon an elemental to burn it for you, but I don't think that will help here.
I need the weapon to go with the body. Wherever the body goes, that weapon needs to go.
So basically, you collapse the wall and the back end of the pyre so that it falls on him and creates kind of like a bit of a makeshift grave of
Just
Yeah.
throwing out the option. We have a plane, and we did fly over a coast.
bury a Goliath at sea. The fuck
We
is wrong?
can't swim.
At altitude.
I've
No,
proven this
In the
just
afterlife.
drop it. Tie the
several
hammer.
times.
Tie the hammer to his torso and drop it.
Try
Weigh it down.
Hammer, like cinder block him.
Yeah.
Mean, it's pretty big.
Mall
the,
boots.
The hammer. I'm gonna see if I can't find his picture, but in the meantime, you do so. You would notice that there does appear to have been tunnelways, like inside of these houses and the like, but it looks like they've all been kind of knocked out and kind of brought under their own weight. Sanat, you'd actually notice that it was kind of an ingenious circumstance of how it was done. It looks like the walls were created, like the ceilings were kind of created to be kind of flat and shifted, like the stone was shifted on top, and then were allowed to fall inwards, and then everything kind of above them would kind of crush inwards. So this kind of layout that you're on, it definitely feels like in some places it's a bit more sunken than others. But yeah, it looks like everything that was underneath this place, like from these small little houses and the like, has been crushed out. And everything inside of these small little places, like it looked like it was like a barracks here, and there were probably barracks in the ground, but everything's been kind of destroyed. But yeah, no force, and
Well, we've done the scouting.
correct.
Seems safe enough. Let's recharge the plane here.
Okay.
I'll have Splug drag it around to somewhere safe.
Well, Splug can probably like cover it up and kind of hang out with it just in case. Like if you want to have Splug like do that. And if you want to sleep near it, you can, or you can sleep inside the walls of this fortification. It's entirely up to you how you want to do it.
Any other ceremony Uther would look for?
Nah, he'd probably just sit there for a while. Because at this point, he's the last remnant of Bloodrock.
Leave him alone for a bit.
Would he be okay with us staying inside the walls?
Well,
We're not in Bloodrock. You're fine.
This is a Levidian fort.
There's just people up beside you.
Prince Inweir came down to defend it. Not very successfully.
Bloodrock is north of here.
Correct. It's the next map marker.
Yeah. I
But
guess
there's-
all.
That lady's there, right?
Any questions about
Right.
the environs here?
How do you mean?
Do you have any questions about like what's around, like what you're, anything that you normally ask, like what you're looking for?
I'm going over the soldiers of Benford, collecting any kind of dog tag identifications of them, trying to notate that for a report to DeKellis.
Okay.
If there's salvageable things, I'll search some of the bodies here, but I'm not looking to weigh us down too terribly.
I guess I'm not. Basically, I'm asking if you're checking to see if this place has a soul well or not.
Oh yeah, I'll pull the lodestar.
It does.
Oh, look at that!
It's the pyre.
Just as I expected.
When we have, I was just say, when we have a signaling, do we know when we're being scried?
You know if you're being scried by a conglomerate person.
Okay.
Do we want to contact what's his face and let him know what happened here?
Yeah, we'll do that. That was the whole idea. I'll get to work on that. Let's hope nothing comes out of this one.
One of the bodies that you find, it seems to have been the most prominently present one, appears to have been a individual who, based on their armor and just the look of them, was a Parnan warrior. Not terribly uncommon amidst the peoples of Jernar, is like in their soldat, which is like their armed forces. And his dog tags denote him as being an individual named Edgar. Um, and one of the people near him is named Grimbald. You would know um, that
They
also.
have ranks.
He is marked as captain, which would be the highest rank here at the
Captain
fort.
Edgar.
Captain Edgar, and it's spelled weird. It's Eadgar. And then you would also see that he has in his
Edgar.
pocket a uh, basically like a small little trinket, but it for you being history trained, if you are, would denote that this person was a member of the Rusty Company, which is a mercenary company. So either they are a member of the Rusty Company or they were a member of the Rusty Company with this basically rusty kind of blade in its own little sheath. Would be the trinket, and the marking denotes it as being Rusty Company. And then Grimbald, I mean, I'm pretty sure he doesn't stand out like too terribly. Compared,
I'm going over the ones that are definitely allied to Penford. So
So
I'll
Grimbald,
go over and look for identifiers for each of them.
Grimbald would be noted, from what you can kind of gather here, as a Legion commander, which basically is second only to a captain. And he is the Legion commander of Fort Ordeal. He's also a full-blooded orc, and appears to have been killed the worst. Like
He's the most deadest guy.
he's the most that died, and yeah, he is the exarch of Ordeal as well, as according to his own kind of identifiers, which means that he was the captain was in charge, but the exarch was the one who owns the fort, and he was also the one who was the commander of the forces here. Basically, it's like manager versus owner.
Okay. And they seem to have died in the same altercation. It's not.
Yes, it's just Grimbald died harder.
Got it.
Edgar looks like he probably died of hanging, whereas Grimbald looks like he died of arrow shot and lots of lacerations.
I'll dial up to Callus if we've got nothing else we have to do.
Okay. This soul well does not have any kind of modifiers or anything crazy. It's just a standard, bog standard
Good plain
soul well.
soul well. Good.
Yeah, no craziness happening here. When you contact
Salt of the earth.
when you contact Achilles, though, the soul well kind of ignites with like a bluish color, and then that very quickly fades. Then the connection seems to be going through after that point.
That's also normal. I'll bring that up immediately that it did that.
Okay. And he says, "Oh, that's strange. I've never heard of that. I don't know what that means, but
Is this a secure line?
I hope so."
Okay,
so
me too.
there's no one present at Fort Ordeal?
Outside of the 6 of us, not anymore.
What do you mean, not anymore?
They're all dead.
Yes, they're all dead. That's not.
Do you explain in where or no?
Yeah, I would. It seems that the forces of Bloodrock came down to either defend or also attack the fort. I'm assuming they defended it.
Defend.
Looks like he
I
was
wanna-
in some way.
I
Go
want to I want to test a theory, because I assume you explained like the situation. I would like to test a theory. Can you have Uther, and I know this is a sensitive request, dig him back up, and whatever item was most important to him, bring that to the soul well, please.
Where is the soul well?
It's
his
at the
pyre.
pyre.
Fire.
Oh, we're there. 'Cause I buried him behind the pyre.
So are you going to dig him up and grab his hammer? Presumably.
Is it absolutely necessary to dig him up, or do you just need it within range?
I would like for it to be within. He kind of gestures because again, remember it brings like a
He needs to
hologram
see it.
of sight.
It's about 15 feet away. I'd really rather not pull it up. I swore an oath.
I'm standing by you
I
on
think
that.
if
I'm not gonna.
He says, I think if it's only 15 feet away, you should be able to pull the lodestar while it's still connected to it. Can you do that for me?
Like stand in between the two.
Like
Yeah,
just walk down to the grave and
I'll
kind of like
I'll stretch us down towards it.
You got that pseudopod thing just
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Once you kind of get him kind of like over it and you've got the connection like, still to the soul well, you hear DeKellis kind of muttering on the other side, and then he says, your companion Inware, from what I understand, was a very powerful warrior. It's tragic to hear his tale end as it did, but I can grant you some acknowledgement. His soul had some sort of connection to it, some sort of old Denisotvan magic. It seems to have left him.
I carry it.
Truly.
He said killing him would spread the curse to me. I took it.
He doesn't like curses.
Eleanor, we're in the middle of something.
She doesn't like curses. He would say, interesting. Well, I cannot purify that without being present, but I can tell you that I can do something from here that might be beneficial to you, might aid you in a sense.
And this is a curse, not magic?
The curse I can't help you with. I can help you with Inware having some grace in death. If you'll permit me, Uther, of the Blood Rock.
Sure.
He spends about 10 minutes kind of muttering magic words on the other side of the phone there. And as you're kind of holding the lodestar kind of pointed at that, you see a single rock on the pile that's kind of consumed him start to just change shape until it becomes exactly identical to the front facing of the maul, which was kind of a demon's face. And then that rock kind of like falls loose from that position. I have made for you a fetish. You should be able to connect with this fetish, and it should give you some powers of the Prince Inware that will aid you.
I pick it up.
Noted.
Kind of full up on those right now,
but you can attach two now, so I'm just trying to make sure
I've
we have
got
plenty.
two.
You can swap them. We're right here over your pal's grave that you made with your own two hands.
Sure did.
So he would, after kind of getting the heads up, is there anything else you want to mention to DeKellis before the disco?
Does he know about what's going on in the place to the north of here?
Blood Rock?
Blood Rock?
The lady? The bad
The
lady?
lady? The bad lady?
I would advise steering as far away clear from that as possible. If my reports on what you refer to as the bad lady are correct,
I don't remember her name, I'm sorry.
That's what our intel.
That's Andy's department.
if that's correct, then she is far beyond your capabilities, and the lodestar falling into her hands would be a guaranteed failure on the conglomerate.
Seems like she really did a number on this Inware character.
Where are we on conglomerate bombs, and where can we pick one up?
If you're wishing to reconnect with the main force, I believe Reuben has been pushed back and away. He's retreating to the coast of Ulaman.
And that's that guy we've never heard of.
Yeah, the guy we never met.
Well, let me tell
He
you
went
about
into Sky Battle.
for the 5th time.
How does he feel about rye bread?
He would say, as far as your destination and your goals here, I can only suggest that you, in an effort to add some substance to the force to the south, you could head that way. There is a town in the sands known as Panacea. You might be able to learn more about the situation from these folk.
And there's nothing funny about that name.
Well, the name or the word panacea just means like a cure-all. So the
Got
name
it.
of the town is cure-all, basically. And he would say that that is right about here. It'll be some travel into the desert, but it could prove very useful for you understanding more about the Denisovans' movements. I understand it to be the case that Panacea has not fallen to Denisovans due to its unique nature, and only those who are welcome in the town are allowed entry. You should be able to glean that hospitality if you simply show them your icons of the conglomerate.
Okay. I'd go on to explain what casualties there were that I could find. I understand they caved in many structures here, but I'd deliberate about the dog tags that I collected and of Captain Edgar and the exarch of
I
the
will
ordeal. I
I
can't
will
remember the guy's name.
I will explain to you something that has troubled me for the last few 6 days, ever since the fall of Ordeal. The one who was able to escape explained that the magic of the prima of their forces, the woman that I mentioned you should steer clear of,
The
was
bad lady.
ancient magic, ancient Denisovan draconic magic that was capable of severing a lot more than just material things. I believe it is the case that the heroes, or rather the tragic heroes of Ordeal, have had more severed from them than just their lives. You say you found Grimbald and you found Edgar. There are
Yes.
others that were present there that day. But I feel like, much like Inweir, they may have some substance of life after death. If you can find them with their souls attached, or if you can find their souls, it may be the case that we need to do a similar rite that I did to Inweir to those present souls.
Could the souls have traveled far?
If you
Should I not be able to see them if they're here?
if you wish to try and find them, you could, but it could be the case that they have been turned to become champions of the Prima.
That does not sound beneficial.
It is why I suggested staying far away from her as possible. Her magic is very much in line with the magic that has been used to create the Dance Eternal that you currently benefit from. However, in their more ancient rites, the Denisovans are capable of creating champions, death knights that serve them without question. These are magics they pulled from the deep long, long ago. Some say that the ones that taught them that magic were the ones who created the dragons in the first place. Although historical agreement amongst most scholars believe that dragons were born of the god Soland.
Blonde sounds familiar. Is that a dragon? Was that big dragon?
Soland?
Yeah.
Soland is the god of dragons, or the power over dragons. I believe the dragon you're thinking of had a name that was similar to Soland, but basically translated in Draconic to son of Soland.
Okay.
Alron was the name of the necromancer dragon. Well, rather, it was his name when it was a gold dragon.
Hell with that guy. All right. So, DeKellis recommends we head towards Panacea,
Correct.
as they will have information for us or hospitality in general.
Do we need to go scoop those two corpses and bring them over here for him to check?
If you
The souls aren't around. We're
Yeah.
supposed to be keeping an eye out for the souls. We would see them by now if they were here.
Okay.
because again, remember you have kind of a ghost.
They were
sense.
probably taken by Bad Lady up north to be made into champions.
Yep.
So we're gonna steer clear of that for
Yeah.
now.
And similar in kind to your magic, she doesn't need the bodies of them. She just needs the souls, and then she can basically create Death Knights for them. And her title, just so we're clear, is Prima. Her name is not Prima.
It's funny because in Spanish that means cousin. And that's why I
Is
keep referring to the giant people.
Yeah.
Is her name Donna?
More of a prime. Yeah, similar in kind of Prima.
Terrible.
Donna.
I liked it. Okay.
What up, Prima?
What?
¿Qué pedo?
Are you talking
Jeremy
Spanish?
speaking Spanish.
I love it.
Hi, cousin. What a fart.
What a fart.
Jeremy speaking.
¿Qué pedo?
It's slang. There's literal translations for slang. Don't worry about it.
All right. Well, anyway, that's what Takala suggests. I need 3d20 rolls for the sleep time.
So we got a Moodus project this whole
I'll take
Bedrock
one.
place.
16's kind of high.
During the morning
14.
time. Oh, we already had
Did
3. During the morning time, as you're kind of coming to...
Didn't do the first one.
Joseph and Brett really like roll the dice.
You would note that there does seem to be a disturbance in the...
I feel like I definitely have to in this situation because I would be taking watch more.
Yeah, so you would definitely
Yeah,
be awake, present for it, and then whoever kind of wakes up early, because it'd be kind of during the morning time, like as the long rest is kind of concluding. There's definitely a disturbance in the sky. It's a bright morning, like, there's some clouds in the sky, but it's mostly like high-flying clouds. But you would notice that a single skyship flies overhead, far above you. I'd say a good, 1,000 feet in the air, and it appears to be heading northbound for Blood Rock. The make and class of it definitely is not conglomerate. It definitely appears to be similar to the ship that you saw at Flat Flat.
Similar in size or similar in build?
Pretty much the same model and make, yeah.
Okay. So that's Dennis Otfin. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Any chance that it sees us?
Highly unlikely.
And this is at dawn?
This
that
is
we're
like
encountering this?
as we're kind of coming to that point in the morning where it's like it's light out, but it's not like the sun's not up yet.
Okay.
Now, where is the Panacea?
Panacea is on the map marked. It'll be here.
Oh, that's a ways. Okay.
Okay.
And you are technically here. Hex-wise, there. Yeah. So, you wake in the morning. You go check on Splug. Splug's fine, sleeping in the boat section of the
I tell him I love him.
Skycraft. You would know that the ship needs to be powered down for an entire day before it can start
back.
flying again.
No.
So you're stuck here
My
for
son.
another day. I need 3 more d20 rolls.
Jody, get in
Yes.
there.
Jeremy, we're going to count your 14.
Oh, shit. I rolled
And a 5 and a
14, 13.
So we're good? So,
I rolled that 5. It shouldn't be there. You took my 14.
Oh, you get the third.
Yeah, I'm taking the 14, the 5, and the 13. Just 3
Alright.
dice rolls. I don't need more than 3
Alright.
dice rolls.
I jumped the gun. My
That's-
bad.
That's okay.
Would the Prima be in cahoots with the Denisotfins?
She is a Denisopin.
She is.
She is. Oh, this is a tangled web.
It's really not. Pay attention.
I shouldn't be in charge.
Who said you were?
A lot of people have implied it.
I
Everybody
kind of
else.
keep leaning on him.
Yeah.
I keep trying to avoid it, but many people have implied it.
No, I know.
That amorphous form, I'm not worried about squishing it.
You told me at the beginning of this game, don't make me the boss. I'm like, okay, I
Yeah.
won't. And I didn't. And then they did. They made you
That
the
keeps
boss.
happening. But whatever. I'll take up the thing.
I had
Whatever.
nothing.
What's the word?
All that torture, he spent the most time with the Kellis.
You're his friend. You fucking talk to
I
him.
am the most Dennis guy.
Fucking you call him. I'm afraid. I'm just a prisoner.
So, if you rest here for a day, it'll come down to a point where you will be able to leave at nightfall, or you can take another long rest, which will kill off the raised dead problems. and you can continue from that point. It's entirely up to you whether you want to take
Opportunities.
If you
They're
wanna-
not problems.
if you want to risk the long rest here, or if you want to just get to flying at nightfall, like flying under the cover of night.
This one more long rest would get Uther back up to.
But he would also take that long rest while we were flying, so it's not like
Exactly.
he wouldn't.
Oh,
That's
fair.
literally the thing I was about to say. That's a very good point. So yeah, it's going to happen. It's just whether or not it's going to happen while you stay here in Ordeal and wait another night and then leave in the morning.
We can just change the flight order, put Bodhi first, and then that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, I'll get us out of here. I'll fly us out of the woods.
Okay, so it's going to be 10 hexes, and it's going to put you into desert time for the first leg of the journey, and you'll be able to land at Panacea if everything's right at nightfall. So you'll be
And
traveling.
we were assured Panacea is a friendly place with hospitality.
You were assured that by Decalis. That's correct.
And
And
he's never lied to us.
Not one time.
fake world deserts are the same as real world deserts. As we approach a nightfall, is it going to drop temperature and like be dangerous?
Correct. But you're going to be leaving at
You know,
night,
what
so
are
you'll
you
actually be
thinking?
you'll actually be traveling in the desert at daytime. But because you'll be
The other kind of dangerous.
well, no, it won't be so bad because you're not on the ground. So
It's fine. I'm shooting some cloud bending on the
Yeah.
Avatar.
desert is dangerous because you're on a ground that is very, very, very much kind of like amplifying the heat. That's why deserts are bad. It's hot everywhere. Like, that's fine. It's just going to be staler there. But if you're flying through the sky, you've got the wind blowing at your face and you're kind of like, up and about. Like, if you're flying on
But it's a dry heat.
Yeah, but if you're flying on a sky bison, it's not as bad
I
as
don't know
like,
what everybody's always crying about.
walking around on the ground, So, we got our 3. And, yeah, nothing is going to happen during the day. But we're traveling, so 3 more. Sorry for the 10s,
I'll take
man.
one.
I keep on forgetting. Like, you're just doing a lot of
Ooh, low.
We're low. Yeah, we love it. Okay, so nightfall finishes, daytime. You start passing over the desert. There really isn't much of note, like as you're kind of passing through this space, and the desert is very much a desert. But you do see that kind of two large bodies of water surrounded by sand. They very much have like kind of growth around them. They seem to kind of be, fortified bastions of like health and well-being oases within the sands. But you can see that there's a small town near one of the larger lakes, even from this distance. And it kind of has its own stylized look. It looks like it itself is kind of built inside of a bit of a waterway that sits near the lake. You'll be passing into the space. You'll be landing here basically as night is kind of setting in. So do you want to settle outside of the town, or do you want to try and land in the town itself?
We were assured they'd be hospitable.
I'd say just outside so we don't kick up any dust. I feel like that's the thing we can do.
If you look at it, it doesn't have too much in the way of dust. Yeah, we're at another big ass town map. We love these. This one will be fun though, I think. But yeah, you would basically be seeing it from above. You can see that there's not much to the north, but there are some pretty solid landing places in the sands to the north. It also looks like there's a very good kind of field of sand to the south, which would be super suitable for landing. Not much on the western side or the eastern side of the town. To the east, it does look like there's more rocky outcroppings. And then to the west, it looks like there's more lake. It looks like the water that's kind of present here seems to kind of flow through natural kind of stone aqueducts that are kind of present on the western coast. Where would you like to land?
The
Well, they
most
don't-
solid ground.
They don't have an airport, huh?
They don't. Or if they do,
It's a
it's
growing industry.
very much their own kind of, you don't know where it's at.
Right.
Passing over it, though, you do see that it is a very colorful and vibrant place. For those of
Is
you
there a
who,
road into the town?
there is none. For those of you who are more worldly, you would recognize the architecture as being very much in kind with Ikashadi stylings. Ikashad is a province to the north of Jernaris that is ruled over by mages similar in kind to Jernaris. They, as cultures, kind of stand opposed to one another in a lot of their magics, but it's not like a we're at war, we hate each other. It's more of a just like a cultural rivalry, the best way to describe it. And Ikashad very much kind of pulls from our own kind of cultural ideas of like desert folk, as you'll kind of see as we play into it. I don't want to get too like we only have 8 minutes. I don't want to get into Panacea with that much time allotted. So we'll say that you park your skyship to the south, and then you're going to make your way in during the night and see if you can get any kind of.
It has to be a nighttime visitor in a town that has no roads leading.
Well, it definitely looks like they have a lot of lights going on, so there isn't much in the way of people like sleeping. It definitely looks like there are people awake. If that's
Oh,
your,
we're going. We don't need roads.
if that's your concern, and we'll get to that part of it too when we get into it next week. So yeah, I'm gonna end it a little early just so we can kind of all go into it together and have a full session of that exploration.
Okay.
So thanks for watching those that did. We're gonna go ahead.
We get Andy back next week, right?
We do. Yeah, he's actually.
Sweet.
I believe he was on a plane.
Yeah,
at some point.
he left the chat earlier to go.
Yep.
Oh yeah, he did say he was getting ready for a flight.
Yeah, so he's
Neat.
probably airborne now. Anywho, thanks for watching. See you next week with All in Tow.